como 4 minutos más. Tenemos a más gente por ahí. Aviones. Okay, can people hear me? I don't know. Just making sure that my internet just fell down. Yes. If someone can hear me, please write something just to make sure. Okay, that I can start. Can you hear me? Is everything okay? Can you hear me good? I'm talking. I'm talking. I'm talking. My phone is on. Yay. Okay, awesome. Y puedes ver mi pantalla, ¿verdad? Y todo compartida ayer. Ok. Awesome. Voy a empezar. Ah. I know, I know. Estoy bien. Ahora Cool, cool. I'm sorry. It's just I'm a little, this technology stuff and sharing and all, but I'm gonna try my best. And just let me know if you have, please send on the way any questions. I'm gonna try to be like the more, to explain everything the best way that I can. So please let me know if you have any doubts, and on the way, I'm gonna do my best to answer them. Okay, so I'm gonna start now. And okay, so at first, what we want to talk about a little bit. Well, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Ariana Rodriguez, and I am MCVPUR for ISEC in Costa Rica for the 17-18 term. And I'm Costa Rican. I'm very proud Costa Rican. And now let me start a little bit with what we're here to talk about. Okay, so what is the role of UR currently in the MC of ISEC in Costa Rica right now is to assure ISEC's brand presence in universities. That's basically what we're doing in is our main role and goal right now within the entity. Okay, so how are we doing this? Basically, we have two main functions. The first one is to have agreements with university entities. That means with schools, faculties, student associations, student federations, all that kind of stuff. And the second one is that we're working on campus promotion. That means that we are right now executing campaigns in universities. And later, I'm going to talk about the channels that we're using and how are we also positioning ISEC in universities currently. So right now, in sales, in all the stuff of agreements that I was talking about before, so we have two main markets, and I'm gonna make the difference because they're very different from each other. So the first one is the state universities, that we actually have our current LCs. So we have three main big state universities that are UNA, TEC, and UCR. And these are the biggest universities in the country and are the ones that have the biggest market. Okay, so right now, what we're doing with the universities where we currently have our LCs, and also, like I said, are the biggest universities. So we're working with networking as the most effective way of attraction. That means that I found out in my 6-7 months you are in our universities is that they move through networking. They move through people that know someone. They connect you with someone. And especially this is important because one of the main challenges that I've had, as you are and to make agreements with the state universities is that since they are funded with public funds, there's a lot of processes and bureaucracy, agreements with the university to get projects, to get budget for your projects and all. So we need someone that actually knows, the inside of the university, that actually knows the structure, that can help us with, to get where we want to go. Second thing that we're working on is market segmentation inside the universities. That means that every LC has to have clarity on which are the schools and careers that they want to focus on, based, of course, on the market that we have, especially the projects that we're working on with our corporations. The third one is that we're working on establishing relationships with schools and faculties. This for the first place for promotion, and secondly, because we want to get our products validation as professional practices. And the schools in Costa Rica are the ones that do that. That means that how can we validate global volunteer, even global talent as professional practices or professional internships? There are students get credits for being part of these projects. And also, we're reaching to associations and students federations because they have budget. Important because they have very good amount of budget they don't execute. So we have to, and they're actually very approachable to get us to work maybe with scholarships with students. So that's what we're working on right now. And also with the main and biggest decision makers in university, like rectorias, vice-rectorias, we're working with macro projects. So that means that we're working on right now, especially in tech, to work on a project where we're selling in OGB like a number of La Vicerrectoría and the university can give us a established budget for to promote our projects and for students to take our projects. So that would be we're working on right now macro projects, especially with Global Volunteer. There's a and we're starting to work global talent, outgoing global talent. Okay, so is I'm gonna talk about the current state of the UR in every LC. So the first one is that we check. I'm gonna talk with with this very general. Have a signed agreement right now with the university that is like an umbrella that gave us access to some benefits from the university. The second one is that we're working with the International Cooperation Office. They are agreeing with us to promote the programs, to promote ISEC as a forum to students to go internationally. And they're helping us promote especially Global Volunteer and Global Talent. And we're going to start with working with them this semester. Also, something that we have always worked with tech is that we give you scholarships from one of the entities of the universities. It's Vicerrectoría de Vida Estudiantil, and this has always given us some budget for our students and our EPs, but the budget is always what they have left. Like they have their budget from the the things that they have to do inside the entity. What is left, for ISEC. But the idea that we're going to start working on this semester is how for them to actually give us amount every semester for an amount of students that want to go and exchange with us. And this is going to work for OGV and also for OGT. But we're working that project with them. Also, we're like talking with them right now. We have to schedule a meeting for this to happen. Working on with the Federation of Students of El Tecnológico of the university. And they're giving us funds for local volunteer. So what worked on the last semester, they did also like they promoted local volunteer and they gave a budget for the students to actually go on the projects with us. Okay, so now the state of UCR is that we have an agreement process. You are in UCR has been a bit tricky because once we filed for just sign an agreement, but it was declined. So now what we did the whole last semester was actually make sure that we fill the requirements to try again to ask for with the university. So last semester, we just make sure that we had all the requirements in this on this month. Well, now in February, we'll have to ask for a meeting again to sign the agreement with the university. Then we have an agreement with the Faculty of Science, Economic Science. We have a very good relationship with the Office of Communication. This is very important because they are the ones that send the communication emails to every students, and it has been like a very good way to promote to attraction, especially. And we are gonna work this semester also our project with the scholarships to make it a scholarship fund for OGB with one school that is La Escuela de Dirección de Empresas. And we're gonna work with this. Yes, we're gonna start to work with this semester. We talked about it last semester, but we can start working on it just right now. So a lot of the stuff that we're working on is because last semester, it was a lot about understanding the market of the university. Like I said, the state universities are not an easy market. So just about understanding, also like getting people to help us inside the universities, to do their working, to actually explain how the universities work. And until this semester, we're gonna have an actual, like to see the results of everything that we did last semester. Okay, so with UNA, we have in current agreement with the Faculty of Social Sciences that this is actually valid for the whole university. Also, we have an agreement with la Escuela de Administración that are going to help us promote our programs and also to do a validation for the professional practices for them, for their career. And they're going to support us, ISEC, in front of Bienestar Estudiantil. UNA, every student has the right to ask one time during their experience, during their university career, to ask one time to money international experience. So this is not something that a lot of students actually know. So we're gonna go, with the school of administration to Bienestar, to actually validate that ISEC is a useful project for people to go on exchange with, and they have the full support from the school and the school of administration. So it's gonna be easier for students to actually ask for this money, because until now it has a lot of paperwork, and sometimes the proposals, or the students gave for money, it was declined for this office. So that's why we're going to go with the school for them to support us in the process. And also we're building a relationship with a department of the school that is called como promoción estudiantil. And what they do is they do a lot of activities in university. They focus a lot on, do activities and cultural stuff in university. So we're working with them to, introduce ISEC also in this kind of activities. And the other whole market that I was talking about is the private universities, and they're very different, because with this one's it's actually easier to establish agreements. We have agreements now with Ulatina and Ulatina. Sorry. There are the biggest private universities in the country. The thing about private universities is that we have to be very careful with the market, because the school holidays aligned as a timeline of projects. So they have only like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of holidays, and they have to lose like for them to go and exchange with ISEC. So that's why it's a little bit harder. But we're trying to reach people that are almost graduating, for them to be easier to take an exchange with us. And also, um, with them right now, we're working on is like promotion, spaces availability, professional internships validation. That also that this works with ULA seat. Steps with these private universities is the first one that I'm working currently right now in a market segmentation for LC sales. That means because before, LCs in UR didn't do like sales outside of their own university. So I'm working on a market segmentation, so they're going to be able to do this. And also, we're working right now in the breakthrough model that is going to be the OT model for ISEC in Costa Rica. And in this, we're going to talk about, of course, expansions and extensions, and how we envision organization the developing in this aspect. So we want to expand to private universities. So the first one, it would be Ulatina and Ulacit. They are the ones that we have currently relationship with, and we have to. The idea is to look for another university that I'm working on it right now to see which market is going to be more suitable for us. And then to work geographically, what is going to make more sense for us and all. But that's going to be decided when we work also a little bit more with the breakthrough model done by this also in the next couple of weeks now. Okay, now talking about campaigns, the campaign implementation universities, the main channels that we use is the university email. That actually is the most effective one in UCR. Then we have promotion escuelas and offices, like communication offices, international cooperation offices, that are the ones that I was talking before. We have, of course, the usual stands, informational stands, clash outs, info sessions, and last semester work a lot on events in university, like how to make lead sessions in Portuguese classes for students. How can a student get also an added value to an event of ISEC, and not just getting the information for a product, but actually something, and they're very effective. What we're missing here, and I think that the biggest gap that we had last semester, in that when we did stand, when we did every activity in the university, we didn't have, or we lack of a call to action, for something that people at the end of the class, they would sign up immediately there, that we would have like computers there for people to sign up immediately. So we lack a lot about that, because we did a lot of events and activities, etc. That, so actually, like, the results for people to sign up. Also, a main challenge right now about the implementation of campaigns is that, especially for OGB, ISEC.org or org, and that represented a big challenge for us, because the page doesn't load and it's very slow, and people are very eager to go to classes and don't have time to sign up. So it has been like, how can we also like engage the customer to to apply directly or to register directly in a stand, in a clash out. Well, maybe not a clash out, but in the stand, in an info session, in an event. So them also register there and not just wait for them to register at home. That of course it doesn't work. And okay, so what are the campaigns that we are working on right now in universities? Global Volunteer, of course. OGV is our main focus program. That is what we're focusing right now. Recruitment, local volunteer, and global home. So about global volunteer, it's important for you guys to know that we're focusing a lot on projects and how can we get money for students to go and exchange with us, because of course it offers them an added value. We're promoting the program, but also because the biggest gap that we have right now in, I say, in Costa Rica is not the amount of people who register, because actually we have a lot of opens, but the problem is that people don't apply to the projects and don't pay, of course. So we're working on, how can we actually, to increase the conversion rate between open, apply, and approve by giving the students the opportunity to have them the added value also from the university, but also like in money for them to be easier to take an exchange with us. Especially, also working on how can we make our programs and projects more available. I'm sorry, more accessible to every student, no matter the amount of money that they have or where they come from. Okay, so the biggest synergies that UR is working currently is OGV, is our biggest synergy. Actually, right now, UR has the goal of the 45% of opens for OGV has to come from UR channels. And also, we're starting to working with OGT this semester. Also, well, of course, we have a big synergy with ITV for Global Home, XD because experience development, they're doing all the marketing and materials stuff. So me as you are, I don't do any materials or digital or at all. Because in my area, my department, it doesn't do any design. So XD do the designs. I tell them as my department what do we need, and they actually do the designs, and the LCs are in charge of implementing them. Synergies for PM, especially for admissions, recruitment, and when we're working with local volunteer, also with IGV local volunteer was a big synergy. Okay, so what is important to take into account for the next term for UR? For me, it's just the main things is that in the first place is to have a long-term vision of the area. That how can we, because right now I'm focusing more in actually the part of making alliances, university, and sales than on the making activities and stunts and stuff, because it gives us like more the biggest resource on a long term have actually to make a good relationship with the university, do like sporadic activities. The second one is also with the first one is that it is very important to have also a very good account management of the accounts that we're building right now, because that never happened in the history of ISA in Costa Rica. We didn't have like main responsibles for the accounts that we're managing, that we were talking. So it's very important, for this vision that we need to keep working on the accounts that we already have, and also then the second one is that networking is everything. This one's one of my biggest learnings, especially in public universities, like the state universities, because like I was saying, the structure is kind of complicated and everything is very bureaucratic. So if you don't have someone to actually, who actually knows the structure and who actually, can tell you who is the right people to talk to, you're gonna, last forever in there. Goes with my next point, that is very useful to have coaches or advisors for LCs that know about university structure. So this semester we had like a person in every LC. I'm sorry, last semester we had a person from every LC that actually helped us, to understand the university, to understand people that we need to talk to understand what kind of projects we could run with the university, and etc. And also, okay, so I already talked about this a little bit, but focus on project sales and alliances. Thing that I tried to do last semester was to actually shift from UR being marketing to UR being like sales specialist and actually like a very good sales force for the LCs. And also, thing that we need to continue is to have segmentation locally. That means segmentation inside the university to know what markets do you want to approach, you know what schools, what careers, etc. And also segmentation, nationally to private universities to see how can keep having and reaching out to more universities, not just the one where the LC is located. Last one is a breakthrough model. There's something, like I said, that we're going to work in the next 2 weeks, but it's very important for also you are to keep working on this to have city that we work on, and geographically, and also like in market, what is going to be the most benefit for us to keep expanding so we can make visible throughout Costa Rica. And yes, basically that's everything that I wanted to say or that I had prepared for you guys. So now if you have questions, I haven't chat. Just let me see. Okay, so just give me a second because I don't know if you guys are asking me something because I actually don't see. Just give me a second, please. Hmm. Okay. If there's anything to talk about, if you have any questions, a little bit longer if you need me to. Okay. Didn't anything? Just let me see. I see a question. Okay, how do I? Sorry. Okay, so how do I see the evolution of the synergy between PD and UR? Okay, so I'm gonna explain you first how we're working on right now, and what's the then to explain the evolution that I actually expect. So what I'm seeing right now with PD and UR, what we're doing right now is that we're working just and I review like my proposals with Elvira and Elvira with me just to make sure that we're selling. Of course, we are aligned to what we're selling to both universities and PD. But I think that actually the evolution that I see is that right now I know that in the structure, of the next MC is not a currently a member for that is going to work especially in UR. So what I expect to do is actually I would like for PD to handle especially UR stuff, especially with universities, because like I said, for me it's not a role of marketing to actually do this, to actually establish relationships with universities, etc. Maybe to do the campus promotion campaigns within the universities, yes, but the part of promotion and to actually make sales proposals and macro projects, for me this should be a work of purely sales. So the evolution that I'm seeing is actually to work more in synergies, because right now we haven't really like I said, we just work with just review like each other's proposals. But I think that the evolution should be to actually you are having maybe a monetary or financial goal, like how many scholarships that universities should give to students to actually work, like I said, to focus work on macro projects and stuff. So I don't know if I answer your question, but yes, that's what I would be seeing. So Aling, please tell me if you heard my answer. It's just, I'm sorry, it's very weird for me to do this, live stream videos stuff. Okay, awesome. Okay, does anyone? Oh, sorry. Other. So does anyone have any other questions? Something? Okay, cool. Cool. So does anyone have any other questions? Or if not, of course, you can always write me to my email or even my WhatsApp. I promise to answer. Okay, well, actually, that's something. Okay, so yes, let me read the question first. How is you are going to be working in the next MC structure? So actually, that's a question that I think is important for you to speak with Andra. Because for what I spoke with her, I know that you are going to be working with marketing. That means that the MCVP marketing is the one that is going to be in charge of the the UR network locally. But as I said, I think it's important also to have a sales approach of UR, especially for the accounts to not be lost in the way. Because we are right now working very hard to actually build strong and meaningful accounts for alliances for the university. So it's important that the person that is going to give track to the VPs also knows a little bit about this, about handling accounts, account management, about sales, etc. But yes, I think that the next MC marketing is going to be handling especially the UR network at local level. You're welcome. Okay, so do you have any more questions? Anything else that you need to know? The life in Costa Rica is very good for the internationals that I see internationals in that are checking the chat and everything. If you have also any questions about Costa Rica, please do. Like I said, you can write me or my email or my WhatsApp, and I will be able to answer you with no problems. Okay, so I'm gonna be, I think, like maybe more 5 minutes for any questions that you guys may have, and we'll be closing the chat then. But if you, like I said, any questions, you can write me with no problem. Okay, I'm seeing just one more question on the way. Just 3 more minutes. And okay, yes, I see another question. So it says, which is right now the value proposition that you're offering to private universities, knowing that their timeline doesn't align very well to our, universities are lacking a bit in Sorry, we're having like internet problems. Okay. Okay, so to answer the we had that she asked, which is right now the value proposition that we're universities to private universities, knowing that their timeline doesn't align very well to our GB timeline. So actually, it's very private universities are the most eager ones to sign an agreement with ISEC, in the sense that they are very, they don't put like a lot of barriers for us to sign in a contract and agreement with them. And the value proposition that we're offering to universities is, of course, the complement that ISEC offers to academy in the sense of in three main aspects. First, of course, leadership. Then, the platform of international universities that we can offer, international opportunities that we have globally. And the third one is innovation and entrepreneurship. That these are actually qualities that we are developing in students that universities are lacking a bit in their curricula and stuff. The question here is not how we are approaching private universities, but how we are approaching students from these universities. They are the ones that have the biggest problems because they have to live like semestres or quarterly for their career to actually. So what we're doing is that we're working with universities in validating the programs with ISEC, with their professional practices or with their volunteer program that they have to do so for them to graduate. And is also how can we offer them an added value that of course, well, you're gonna miss this term of your career, but you also are gonna gain, the university is gonna give you credits for this. We're gonna validate you for your professional practice and stuff. So that's what we're offering. And also we're looking for students who are in the last years of their careers. So they end up graduating and stuff, so they don't have to lose a more classes or everything. So those are like the main two approaches that we're giving right now to students of the private universities. Yes. So yeah, well, I think that's gonna be it. Like I said, thank you you guys very much for being here, and also actually to care what we're experiences that we're having. So like I think I'm a very approachable person, so you can write me anytime. If you have any doubts about UR, about being MC in Costa Rica, about the country itself, please let me know, and I will help you with anything that you need. So, pura vida. Thank you very much for being here, and bye bye.